3 am. Your mind racing. What if I had said something different? Did I make the right decision? What if everything goes wrong? If you've ever laid awake because your brilliant brain won't stop analyzing everything, here's why. Smart people suffer more because your brain doesn't just see real dangers, it creates thousands of potential dangers, then tries to solve them all at once. The Buddha discovered this 2,500 years ago. Despite having everything: intelligence, power, wealth, he was still imprisoned by his own mind. Until he found a way out of this trap. Good news. You don't need to give up your intelligence. You just need to learn how to master it. Imagine using your brilliant mind to solve real problems, instead of getting trapped, solving problems that don't exist. Next, I'll show you exactly why this trap happens, the secret the Buddha discovered, and how to escape it today. Because the problem isn't that you think too much. The problem is how you relate to those thoughts. So, why exactly do smart people fall into this trap? And why does the smarter you are, the more likely you are to suffer? Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Your intelligence is designed to create problems. Sounds crazy? Let me explain. The human brain evolved in dangerous environments. Our ancestors survived not because they were optimistic, but because they were vigilant. Those who asked, "Is that shadow a tiger?" were more likely to survive than those who thought, "Oh, pretty flowers." So what did the brain learn? That safety comes from predicting every possible danger. And intelligent brains do this very, very well. But here's the problem. We're no longer living in jungles full of tigers. We live in offices, homes, cities. Real dangers are far fewer. But the brain still operates as if we're in the wild. So what does it do? It creates new tigers. What if I fail this presentation? What if my boss isn't happy with my report? What if I make the wrong decision? And here's the key point. The smarter you are, the more terrifying scenarios you can imagine. You can see 10, 20, even 100 ways everything could go wrong. Stop for a second and think about this. The last time you worried about something, how many different scenarios did you imagine? Wasn't it that you didn't just worry about one possibility, but worried about a chain reaction of terrible things? That's problem, creating intelligence, at work. Now, let me show you what happens inside the mind when you start overthinking. Imagine you have to make an important decision, maybe about work, relationships, or even just choosing what to eat for dinner. A normal mind would consider a few options and decide. But your mind? It starts a comprehensive analysis. If I choose A, then X might happen, leading to Y, which could cause Z. But if I choose B, then P might happen, which means Q. Wait, have I considered option C? If C, then what about R, S, T? And before you know it, you're no longer living your life, you're analyzing it. You're no longer experiencing the present, you're rehearsing the future or reviewing the past. Here's what most people don't realize. When you overthink, you're actually living one step removed from reality. You become a spectator of your own life instead of a participant. Think about the last time you had an important conversation. Instead of truly listening and responding naturally, wasn't your mind busy with, what should I say next? Do they understand me? Do I sound smart? Oh no, did I just say something weird? While your mind was busy analyzing the conversation, you missed the actual conversation. This is the real cost of overthinking, and it's far bigger than just feeling tired in your head. The first cost is presence. When you're constantly analyzing, you're never truly here in this moment. You're always in your head, in the future, in the past, in hypothetical scenarios. The second cost is decisiveness. When you can see 1,000 ways things could go wrong, making decisions becomes paralyzing. Why take any risk when you can see everything that might happen? The third cost is joy. It's hard to enjoy the moment when your mind is busy preparing for the next 10 moments. And the fourth cost, perhaps the most painful, loneliness. Because when you live in your head, you live alone. Even when surrounded by loved ones, you're still trapped with your own thoughts and worries. But here's what I want you to understand. This isn't your fault. This isn't a sign of weakness or failure. This is simply the result of having a powerful brain in a world it wasn't designed to handle. Your mind is trying to protect you. It believes that if it can predict and prepare for everything, it can keep you safe. It doesn't realize that trying to control everything is actually harming you. And here's the interesting thing. You can recognize you're in this trap right now. You can know you're overthinking. You can tell yourself, don't worry, or don't overthink this. But what happens? You start worrying about worrying. You start thinking about thinking too much. You start analyzing why you can't stop analyzing. That's because you're trying to use the mind to solve a problem created by the mind. It's like trying to escape quicksand by digging deeper. So where's the way out? How do we escape this cycle? This is where ancient wisdom becomes incredibly valuable. Because this problem isn't new. Humans have struggled with their minds for thousands of years. And some have found answers. One of those people was the Buddha. He didn't just understand this problem, he found the solution. And that solution doesn't involve stopping thinking or becoming less intelligent. It involves changing your relationship with thinking itself. But before we dive into the solution, I want you to really understand the depth of this problem. Because only when you see the full picture can you appreciate the true power of what we're about to discover. The problem of overthinking isn't just about thoughts. The problem is that you've become a prisoner of your own intelligence. Your greatest gift has become your heaviest burden. The brilliant mind that can solve complex problems starts treating everything, including thoughts and feelings, as problems to be solved. But here's what the mind doesn't understand. Some things aren't problems to be solved. They're experiences to be lived. When you're constantly in problem-solving mode, you miss the texture of life. You miss the subtle beauty of ordinary moments. You miss the simple pleasure of being present. And perhaps most tragically, you start to believe that your worth depends on having all the answers, making perfect decisions, avoiding all mistakes. Your intelligence, which should be a gift, becomes a burden you carry alone. Here's a question I want you to consider. When was the last time you could completely turn off your mind? When did you last feel totally at peace without needing to think about anything? If you're struggling to remember, you understand what I'm talking about. But here's what gives me hope, and what should give you hope too. This very recognition, this awareness that something isn't working, is the first step toward freedom. Your suffering isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a sign that you're ready for something more. It's a sign that the old way of relating to your mind isn't sustainable. The mind that created this trap is the same mind that can find the way out. And the way out has been mapped by people who walked this path long before us. What we're about to explore isn't just theory, it's a practical psychology that's been tested over thousands of years. It's a way of thinking that honors your intelligence while freeing you from its tyranny. Because the ultimate irony is this: when you learn to stop being enslaved by thinking, you actually become more effective at thinking. When you stop trying to control your mind, you gain real mastery over it. The solution isn't less intelligence, it's wisdom. And wisdom isn't just knowledge. Wisdom is knowing when to engage the mind and when to let it rest. And that wisdom, discovered long ago by someone who understood exactly what you're going through, is what we're going to explore next. So what exactly did the Buddha discover about the human mind? And how can this free you from the overthinking trap? To understand this, we need to go back to the story of a young prince named Siddhartha. He had everything society said would bring happiness: exceptional intelligence, unlimited wealth, supreme power, a loving family. Yet he still felt something was missing. Sound familiar? How many successful, intelligent people do you know who are still struggling with inner unrest? Siddhartha realized the problem wasn't external circumstances. He could have everything, but the mind still created suffering. And this was his first crucial discovery. Suffering doesn't come from the external world, but from how the mind reacts to that world. In the next 2 minutes, I'll share the key insight he discovered. This will completely change how you see your own thoughts. After years of searching, Siddhartha had a profound realization. The problem wasn't thinking itself, but our relationship with thinking. He saw that suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, but from the mind's attempt to control, fix, and perfect everything. This is when he became the Buddha, the awakened one. And his first teaching was about the nature of suffering and how to end it. Now, let me translate these insights into language a modern mind can understand. The Four Noble Truths for Overthinkers. The Buddha's foundational teaching on the Four Noble Truths isn't just ancient philosophy, it's practical psychology for the overthinking mind. First truth: life contains suffering. For overthinkers, this means accepting that uncertainty, mistakes, and not knowing are part of life. Your mind will never solve everything, and that's perfectly okay. Stop for a second and let this sink in. Are you trying to live a life with no uncertainty? Are you trying to create a perfect world in your head? The first truth says, that's an unwinnable battle. Imperfection, uncertainty, change, these are all the nature of existence. When you accept this, you stop trying to solve problems that aren't actually problems. Second truth: suffering comes from attachment. We suffer not from thoughts themselves, but from our attachment to figuring everything out, having perfect clarity, controlling outcomes. The mind becomes attached to its own processes. Think about this. Are you someone who, when you have a worried thought, instead of letting it pass, you cling to it? Do you feel you must solve every thought? This is attachment. You're attached to the idea that you must have all the answers, make perfect decisions, avoid all mistakes. Third truth: freedom is possible. This isn't about stopping thinking, it's about changing your relationship with thinking. You can learn to think without being trapped by thinking. Imagine being able to use your mind like a powerful tool when needed, but also being able to put it down when not needed. Like knowing when to pick up a hammer and when to set it down. Fourth truth: there's a path to freedom. This path involves training the mind through awareness, not through analysis. This is the key point most people miss. Take a moment to breathe deeply with me. Notice, right now, is your mind trying to analyze these truths instead of simply receiving them? Right view, seeing thoughts clearly. Now here's the part that will change everything. The Buddha taught right view, seeing reality as it truly is, not as the mind constructs it. For overthinkers, this is revolutionary. Right view reveals these things about thoughts. Thoughts are not you. You are the awareness that observes thoughts. When you think, I'm a failure, you are not that thought. You are the consciousness that notices the thought arising. Try this right now. Notice the next thought that appears in your head. Who is doing the noticing? That's the real you, not the thought, but the observer of thought. Thoughts are not facts. Your mind generates thousands of thoughts daily. Most are predictions, judgments, or stories. Very few are actual facts about present reality. Think about the last time you worried about something that would happen. In the end, what percentage of those worries actually occurred? Maybe 10%? Wu? Even less? Thoughts are temporary. Like clouds passing through the sky, thoughts arise and pass away. The problem comes when we grab onto them, analyze them, try to solve them. Thoughts are habitual. Your mind has learned to think in certain patterns. But patterns can be changed through awareness and practice. This isn't about positive thinking or stopping thoughts. It's about seeing thoughts clearly without judgment, without getting lost in them. Mindfulness, the antidote to overthinking. The Buddha's primary tool for freedom was mindfulness, but not the popular version you might know. True mindfulness is much deeper. In the next 3 minutes, I'll teach you the specific technique the Buddha used. This isn't theory, this is practice you can use immediately. Mindfulness is not relaxation. It's awareness. You can be mindful of anxiety, mindful of confusion, mindful of overthinking itself. Mindfulness is not emptying the mind. It's observing whatever arises without getting caught in it. Here's how mindfulness transforms overthinking. Step 1. Notice the thinking. Instead of being lost in thought, you become aware that thinking is happening. Oh, I'm analyzing again. Try this now. Notice the stream of thoughts in your head. Can you say, I'm thinking about? Does that create a little distance? Step 2. Observe without judgment. No, I shouldn't be thinking this, or this is bad. Just gentle awareness. This is what's happening now. Step 3. Return to the present. This doesn't mean stopping the thoughts. It means reconnecting with immediate experience: breath, body, sounds, sensations. Try this now. Notice your breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Can you sense the difference between thinking about breathing and actually breathing? Step 4. Rest in awareness itself. Discover the space in which thoughts appear and disappear. This space awareness itself is always peaceful, always present. The practice isn't to have no thoughts. It's to no longer be enslaved by thinking. You learn to think when thinking is helpful and rest when thinking is not helpful. Anapanasati technique, breath as the mind's anchor. The Buddha taught a specific technique called Anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. This isn't just relaxation, this is training for the mind. When you practice breath mindfulness, you're condensing thousands of thoughts into two, breathing in and breathing out. The mind is still active, but now it has a single point of focus. Here's how to practice. Find your natural breath. Don't change it, just notice it. Feel the sensation of air touching your nostrils as you breathe in. Notice the warm feeling as you breathe out. When the mind wanders, it will wander, don't fight it. Gently return to the breath. Like training a puppy, be patient and gentle. The magic is, every time you notice the mind has wandered and bring it back, you're strengthening the muscle of awareness. Loving kindness. Practice healing the relationship with yourself. But there's another crucial element the Buddha taught: compassion. Especially self-compassion. Overthinkers are often very harsh with themselves. They criticize every mistake, analyze every decision, set impossible standards. The Buddha saw that without self-compassion, we cannot be free. A harsh mind creates more suffering than any external circumstance. So how do you practice self-compassion? Start by talking to yourself like you would talk to a dear friend who is suffering. Instead of, "Why am I thinking like this? I'm so stupid. Try. I see the mind is worried." This is very normal for humans. Let me be gentle with this. The middle way. Balance in mental engagement. Finally, the Buddha taught the middle way. For overthinkers, this means finding balance between using intelligence and being enslaved by it. The middle way isn't stopping thinking. It's also not thinking constantly. It's learning to engage skillfully with the mind. Sometimes, thinking is necessary and helpful. Use your brilliant intelligence to solve real problems, create, plan. Sometimes, thinking is not helpful. When you're recycling worries, when you're creating problems that don't exist, when you're analyzing the past for the 1,000th time. Wisdom is knowing the difference. And that wisdom comes from practice, not from thinking more about it. These insights from the Buddha aren't just ancient philosophy. They're practical mind technology that's been tested over thousands of years. And now, we're going to learn how to apply them to your daily life. But here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about becoming a Buddhist or adopting a religion. This is about understanding how your mind works and learning to work with it skillfully. The same mind that created the trap of overthinking has the capacity to find freedom from it. The intelligence that sometimes feels like a burden can become your greatest ally in finding peace. What we've just explored is the foundation. Now we need to build the practical skills that will allow you to live this wisdom, not just understand it intellectually. Because understanding these concepts mentally is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you begin to apply them in the moments when your mind is spinning, when anxiety rises, when the old patterns of overthinking try to take over. And that's exactly what we're going to practice next. Now comes the most important part. How do you actually live this wisdom? How do you integrate mindfulness into a life that requires thinking, planning, making decisions. In the next 10 minutes, I'll teach you 5 specific techniques you can use immediately. This isn't theory, these are practical tools that will change how you experience your mind. Technique 1. Conscious thinking practice. The answer is conscious thinking, learning when to engage the mind and when to let it rest. Here's how to practice. When you notice overthinking beginning, ask yourself, is this thinking solving a problem or creating one? Am I planning for something real or worrying about fantasies? Is this analysis helpful right now, or am I just spinning? If thinking is helpful, engage fully. Make your lists, analyze your options, solve the problem. Then stop. If thinking is just recycling worry or rehashing the past, practice the gentle return to presence. This isn't about judgment, it's about wisdom. Learning to use your brilliant mind as a tool, not be used by it. Technique 2. The stop method. Here's a simple practice you can use anywhere, anytime. I call it stop. S. Stop. When you catch yourself in an overthinking loop, just pause. Don't try to solve or stop the thinking, just pause. T. Take a breath. One conscious breath. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. This connects you to the present moment. Oh, observe. What's actually happening right now? Not in your thoughts, but in reality. What do you see, hear, feel? P. Proceed. Choose your next action from awareness, not from the overthinking mind. This might be taking practical action, or it might be simply continuing what you were doing. Try this right now. Practice stop for 30 seconds. Notice the difference in how you feel. This practice takes 30 seconds and can save you hours of mental suffering. Technique 3. Working with difficult thoughts. But what about those persistent, scary thoughts? The ones that feel too important to ignore? The Buddha taught that resistance creates persistence. The more you fight a thought, the stronger it becomes. Instead, try this. Welcome the thought. Hello, anxiety about the future. I see you. Thank the thought. Your mind is trying to protect you, even when it's misguided. Thank you, mind, for trying to help. Investigate with kindness. What is this thought really about? Often, beneath worry is love for someone's safety, love for your own well-being. Let it be. You don't have to solve every thought. Some thoughts just need to be witnessed, not fixed. Remember, you're not trying to have only positive thoughts. You're learning to have a healthy relationship with all thoughts. This process transforms your relationship with your own mind. Instead of being at war with your thoughts, You become their wise, compassionate observer. Technique 4, 3-minute meditation for busy people. But I don't have time to meditate. I get it. That's why I designed this practice for busy lives. Here's a 3-minute meditation you can do anywhere. Minute 1, anchor the breath. Find your natural breath. Notice the sensation of air touching your nostrils. When the mind wanders, gently return to the breath. This is training the muscle of awareness. Minute 2, expand awareness. Keep part of your attention on the breath, but now also notice sounds around you, sensations in your body. You're learning to be aware of multiple things at once. Minute 3, loving, kindness. Place your hand on your heart. Silently say, "May I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering." Then expand, "May all beings be peaceful." Do this every morning or whenever you feel overwhelmed. 3 minutes can reset your entire day. Technique 5, thought labeling technique. This is one of the most powerful techniques for not getting swept away by thoughts. When you notice a stream of thinking, label it. Planning, when you're thinking about the future. Remembering, when you're reviewing the past. Worrying, when you're creating scary scenarios. Judging, when you're criticizing yourself or others. Problem solving, when you're working on something practical. For example, I notice the mind is worrying about tomorrow's meeting. Labeling creates instant distance between you and the thought. You're no longer the thought, you're the observer of thought. Daily life applications. Now, let me show you how to apply these techniques in specific situations. Before an important meeting, instead of letting your mind run through every possible scenario, use 2 minutes to practice stop. Breathe, anchor yourself in the present, then go into the meeting from awareness rather than anxiety. When making a big decision, set yourself a time limit. I'll spend 30 minutes considering the options, then I'll decide. This prevents endless analysis. Before sleep, instead of letting your mind review the day or worry about tomorrow, practice the 3-minute meditation. End by listing 3 things you're grateful for. During conversations, when you notice yourself analyzing what to say next instead of listening, gently bring attention back to the person speaking. When feeling overwhelmed, use the labeling technique. I notice the mind is overwhelmed. Then practice stop and prioritize one task at a time. Building sustainable habits. Here's what's crucial. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one technique and practice it for a week. When it becomes natural, add another. Start small. Morning, 3-minute meditation. Midday, one-stop practice. Evening, label 3 thoughts. Remember, progress isn't linear. Some days you'll remember to use these techniques. Some days you'll forget. Both are normal. What matters isn't perfection. It's direction. Every moment of awareness, every return to presence, every conscious breath, all of these build the muscle of freedom. Signs of progress. How do you know these practices are working? Here are signs to watch for. You notice you're overthinking faster. Instead of being stuck for 2 hours, maybe it's only 20 minutes. You have more natural pause moments, times when you automatically check in with yourself. Is this helpful? Decisions become easier. You trust you can handle what comes, even when you can't predict everything. You feel more present in conversations, more connected to people around you. Most importantly, you start feeling like your own friend instead of your own enemy. These changes may be subtle at first, but over time, they transform your entire experience of living. From being imprisoned by thinking, you become the master of your mind. From struggling with your intelligence, you learn to dance with it. And that's exactly what we'll explore in our final section: how to make these practices a way of life. As we come near the end of this journey, I want you to take a moment to recognize what just happened. In the past 45 minutes, you've gone from feeling trapped in the overthinking trap to having specific tools to break free from it. But more importantly, you've begun to change your relationship with your own mind. Remember, this isn't about perfection. There's no graduation from being human. You'll still overthink sometimes. Your brilliant mind will still create elaborate scenarios and endless analyses. The difference is your relationship to this process. Instead of being trapped by thinking, you become the spacious awareness in which thinking happens. Instead of fighting your mind, you become its wise, gentle guide. Here's what I invite you to try this week. Each morning, set an intention. Today, I practice conscious thinking. Throughout the day, notice when overthinking begins. Use the stop method. Return to presence. Each evening, reflect. When was I lost in thinking? When was I present? No judgment, just loving awareness. This is how freedom grows. One moment of awareness at a time, one conscious choice at a time, one return to presence at a time. I know some of you are thinking, but will this really work? I've tried so many things before. Let me share something. Doubt is normal. That very doubt is just another thought. You can observe it, welcome it, then choose how to respond. Some days will be easier than others. Some moments you'll remember to use these techniques. Some moments you'll forget completely. All of it is part of the path. What matters isn't never overthinking again. It's recognizing when you're doing it and having a choice in how you respond. Your journey from overthinking to inner peace isn't just personal healing, it's a gift to the world. When you're no longer trapped by mental suffering, you become available for life itself. You become more present with the people you love, more creative in your work, more peaceful in your being, more wise in your choices. The Buddha's promise is still true. Freedom is possible. Not freedom from being human, but freedom within your humanity. Not freedom from thinking, but freedom from being enslaved by thinking. If this conversation has touched you, you're not alone in this journey. The Where Hearts Rest community is here a space for thoughtful souls seeking ancient wisdom for modern struggles. Subscribe to join our ongoing conversation about finding peace in a thinking world. Each week, we explore different aspects of loving kindness, Buddhist wisdom, and practical awakening. Leave a comment, sharing one insight from today's journey. What spoke to your heart? What will you practice this week? Your sharing helps others feel less alone in their struggles. Final invitation. And remember, this is just the beginning. The path of awakening isn't a destination, it's a way of walking through life. Some days will be clearer than others. Some moments will bring peace, others confusion. All of it belongs to the journey. Until we meet again in this space of heart and wisdom, be gentle with yourself. Your overthinking mind isn't the enemy, it's a student, learning to find peace. Imagine a moment when you can observe your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky, present, but not controlling you. When you can use your brilliant intelligence to solve real problems without getting trapped solving problems that don't exist. That's not just a distant dream. It's a completely achievable state, and you've taken the first steps toward it today. What we've explored together isn't just ancient philosophy, it's practical wisdom that can transform your daily experience. The tools are simple, but their power is profound. In a world that often feels overwhelming, where intelligent minds are bombarded with endless information and decisions, you now have an anchor. You have a way to find stillness in the storm, clarity in the chaos. The intelligence that once felt like a burden can become your greatest ally. The mind that created suffering can become a source of wisdom and peace. From my heart to yours, may you rest well in the space between thoughts. May you trust the wisdom that lies beyond analysis. And may you always remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the loving awareness in which all thoughts arise and pass away. The journey continues. And you don't walk it alone. Thank you for this time together. Until our paths cross again, In this space of understanding and compassion, may your heart find its rest.